You're listening to a Mash Those Buttons podcast. Visit mashthosebuttons.com for a full podcast schedule.
Cargo secured. Extraction complete. Intelligent System Analytic Computer is activated. All ISAC systems are confirmed online. Data scanned. Downloading files.
What's up, guys? You're listening to episode 55 of SITREP Radio, giving you the news and other happenings in the world of The Division. This week we have a special guest who joined us over the past week to discuss survival and minor changes that could be made to the mode that we would all possibly want. That will be made. But first, my name is Mike, and as you've just heard, one of my co-hosts, Robert.
Hello.
And Luke.
Hello.
And what have we been up to this week, guys?
Robert. I played Destiny on Tuesday, but I only did one raid. So, and then we all dispersed. Our raid team just went, right, we're all going. Well, some of them went to bed, some of them went and played Overwatch, me, and some of them just went and played Iron Banner.
Is that why you've been in a bad mood this week?
No, it's just...
have you not quite hit your Destiny level for the week yet?
No, it's just Destiny's just a bit boring and poo now.
Somebody clip that right now.
I'm done. I want the new game now.
Destiny has finally killed Rob. Thank fuck for that.
I have been playing Division this week as well. I've been doing quite a lot of Last Stand.
Hang on a minute. Who are you and what have you done with Rob?
Because when Last Stand came out, I didn't really play it that much. I'm really getting into it now. Although it is lots of seekables everywhere. But it's good fun. I'm loving it. Just trying out new builds.
Whereabouts are they?
Everywhere.
Echo.
Yeah, and we played Overwatch, which we discovered 3v3s, which is like playing Trials without sweating your balls off. It's awesome.
See, I don't know much about Trials, so I can't really get the reference, but I really enjoyed the 3v3s that we did in Overwatch. That was really good fun. So I've played a bit of Overwatch this week. I've not played any Destiny this week, which will come as a surprise to no one.
Oh.
But yeah, lots of Division. I tried streaming Survival twice this week.
How'd that go?
It didn't go very well. That didn't go very well at all. I think I extracted once out of 5, which is dreadful.
The first time you tried to stream, I started watching you, and then 20 minutes later, you switched off again.
Yeah, it wasn't going very well. I don't think I made it more than, literally more than 10 minutes. It was dreadful. The cold killed me once. A load of red bar NPCs killed me another time. And then the third time, within 20 minutes still, the third time I ran straight for a landmark and just got absolutely mullered. So yeah, that was dreadful. But one of the times I managed to extract, so I did a successful stream. Yay!
Yay! Mike, did you do some survival?
I did some survival this week.
Did you get on better than me? Because I suck at it, apparently.
I failed one run where I was streaming pretty much within the first 20 minutes. All I was getting was materials and shit like that. And then another run I did during the week was was really good, and I managed to get out. But you guys, I know Luke, you watched it, the end of it anyway.
Yeah.
I went to craft the fly gun. It said it was crafted. I was like, cool, don't need that. I'll make a weapon. Got to the extraction point, and then it was like, you have no fly gun. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Oh, what the hell? So then I basically just headed to some extraction where 2 guys were trying to extract, and basically screwed up their extraction for them.
So 2 guys, 1 extraction then, yeah?
2 guys, 1 extraction. But there was, if anybody wants to go back, go check the footage, because there was one bit where some guy was taking down a named boss in the open area, and he was taking him down, and I finished him off. I ran in there, stole the stuff, and got out there, and he was like, "Hey!" I was like, fist bump, laughed to myself, and ran out of there as quick as I could. So it was funny as hell. Yeah, so we've been playing a little bit of Overwatch this week, haven't we, guys? We've been playing 3v3s, which have been a lot of fun. I know myself, Luke, and Rob jumped in that this week, and we were killing it with an awesome team, didn't we?
Yeah.
I did something that I don't do in the Division. I played a healer. It's kind of fun.
Oh, yeah, in Overwatch. Sorry, threw me for a second.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. Zenyatta, is it? Yeah, the floaty
honest,
guy.
dude, you're freaking awesome as a healer in that game, which
Yeah.
I'm quite surprised at, because I know that's not your thing.
No, I had
I
suck
know
at it in
Nor-
the Division.
Yeah, I know you're
You
normally...
had some clutch kills as well with Zenyatta. I remember rightly.
Not quite as good as your preemptive kills with the flying girl, whose name eludes me completely
Farah.
at the moment. Farah,
Yeah, Farah.
thank you very much.
Yeah,
So
so
the character I use.
for listeners out there wanting to pick that up, what is everybody's main character? I would have said mine's probably Orisa.
Mine's probably the same, to be honest, because it's like tanky and DPS at the same time, isn't it? But I am getting into Zenyatta the last couple of nights, so that's been different and fun at the same time.
Yeah,
Rob?
I just use Farah because it's like playing
Awesome.
Destiny.
And yeah, I just want to give a very quick shout out to Brad, our good friend Brad, and Edelon Fox for keeping me entertained till Luke joined me halfway through the week by singing Backstreet Boys or some shit, whatever the hell they were singing. And yeah.
Yeah, those two owe me a sing-song because they refused to sing it after I turned up for some reason. I don't know if I'm like the Simon Cowell of our little gaming community or what, but they
don't
wouldn't
know.
sing for me.
I can imagine it probably sounded what a Japanese karaoke bar sounds like after a nice day at work.
It's not something I
yeah.
frequent, to be honest.
Anyway, enough about what we've been up to this week. We had a little bit of news.
State of the game.
Yeah, so Rob, what's been happening in the state of the game this week?
They closed the PTS. They got really good feedback off of it. They managed to implement the inventory expansion without any major bugs, I think. So that's going to be implemented in 1.6.1, which is awesome news.
Yes, I think everyone's happy with that 120 backpack space being added into the game. As well as, the one thing that I think we've possibly forgotten about a little bit. I can't believe get my words out. Loadouts, dude.
Yeah.
Very soon. And speaking of very soon, they've basically said that update 1.6.1 will be dropping, hopefully, still at the end of May. My guess at the minute is probably going to be about the 23rd or the 30th of May, which is approximately just over 2 weeks from now. That's, 2.5 weeks? Just under 2.5 weeks?
All depends on Sony.
Yes. They will be spending a couple of days just finalizing what the build is for 1.6.1, adding a few extra bits in there, I think. And if everything goes well, we'll have that by the end of the May. If not, I'm guessing first week of June. Okay. What's been happening in the world of the ETF, Luke?
So the emails for the successful applicants got sent out, 10, 15 minutes before State of the Game went live. Hamish and Yannick confirmed that 12 people had been invited for ETF-3 or ETF Charlie, whichever way you want to word it. They were only emailing the successful people. So if you haven't had an email, you're not invited. Sorry. Surveys and daily updates are going to be out for the general public. A little bit more transparency for what is going on this time around as opposed to previous versions. For some reason, there were people in the State of the Game chat asking to stream the ETF meetings, which is ridiculous because they're under NDA anyway. That was never going to happen. But yeah, they came out and said directly that they can't do that. There will be no streaming of ETF meetings or game sessions or any of that sort of stuff, which comes as a surprise to no one really. There will be no State of the Game during the week of the ETF, which was the first week in June, was it? I can't remember what they said the dates were.
No,
actually.
it's the
23rd onwards, isn't it?
Yeah, 23rd onwards.
Right,
so
okay.
rough. And they also said, if I remember right,
So it'll be 25th, won't be a state of the game.
Yeah, I was just thinking, back to my guess of the 23rd, it's not going to be dropping on the 23rd. I think they said that actually on the State of the Game, that the update won't be live.
No, they said
for the
it
State of the Game.
could. It could be.
Yeah.
All right, okay. All right,
So
okay.
definitely not the 16th, because that's like next Tuesday, so that gives like 2 days for certification, which again is ridiculous. So it could be 23rd, could be 30th, but
Because it's always on a Tuesday, isn't it?
I, to be honest, I think Sony will want more than a week to certify it anyway, won't they? They have done for all previous updates,
Yeah.
so I can't see why this won't be any different or anything special.
Yeah.
Again, Hamish and Yannick did reiterate that members of ETF Alpha and ETF Bravo will be involved in the discussions, but won't actually be present at the ETF itself, which was the same for ETF Bravo. ETF Alpha didn't get invited to that one either, so that's, again, nothing new. It's just reiterating the same thing for people that
They
might
have a
have forgotten.
forum or something, don't they?
I think they do,
Secret.
yeah, to be honest.
Secret forum. But
It's-
yeah, sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, it's good that they're keeping everybody involved, but again, I think it's good that the particular people that get chosen for the specific ETFs are the only ones that get to like be involved at that time, and then obviously get feedback from the other ETF members afterwards. But that's just my opinion.
No, that's cool, man. Yeah, unfortunately, nobody from Team SITREP will be going to this ETF, unfortunately.
Boo.
However, a member of our community that we, part of the DCW community and all that, will be going. Who's going, Luke?
Friend of the show, Riley or Taylor.
Woo! All the woos.
He was on
All
the
the
show,
woos.
wasn't he? I missed
He
it.
was on the show, yeah.
Previous guest.
Way back in
You have to get him back on.
episode 40, I think.
Yeah.
Way back.
And basically to help out, I'm guessing with 1.7 and 1.8, and probably the ETF, they've been sending out some surveys this week, haven't they, Rob?
Oh yeah, the Dark Zone survey. I filled it out today. It'll be closed it'll probably be closed by the time this goes out. So if you haven't done it already, tough. But yeah, I gave Massive another great idea in my survey. Hopefully that'll get implemented. I'm not going to tell anyone what it is.
Did you
I was
sign
just-
it
I was
so
gonna
that
wait
they
and
know it's
see.
from you?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Otherwise, they're not going to listen, are they? If they know it's not from SITREP Rob, they're just going to be like, well, that's rubbish.
I did sign off.
Good lads.
Well, we know they love us over at Massive, so
Yeah, clearly.
no doubt that
they do.
will be.
That's why we all got invitations to the ETF.
No, but I will put a link to that in the show notes. Hopefully, if that is still
It might
going,
still
you'll
be
able
open.
to.
Did
Yeah,
you
when
fill it
it's
out, Mike?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's all
did.
three
I
of
was
us
going to
done.
ask Rob what his idea was, seeing as he was so fresh to it. But
I mean, I can, but no.
Let's see if it gets
you've got-
implemented, and
I'll
then you
save,
can be
I'll
like,
save it for a future episode.
Hold on. But if you don't put it on visual medium, audio medium, you've not technically got it recorded, have you?
Yeah. It's recorded in my head. It's fine.
But yeah, that's news for this week. Anyone that watched the State of the Game today, it was 10, 15 minutes, very short.
Yes.
But yeah, as they're all kind of ramping down for update 1.6.1, I guess. Anyway, enough about this week's news. We actually had the chance to sit down with somebody pretty awesome, somebody who I think is a big part of a lot of the videos that we've watched and things like that. And we had the awesome Arekkz, who was really awesome. I keep saying the word awesome, but to us,
awesome
he was
Arekkz, that was really
good.
awesome.
Yeah, awesome Arekkz. We're just calling him from that from now on. But yeah, it was really good to have him on and have a huge discussion about survival and changes that we'd all like to come in year 2. That being the case, we won't keep you much longer. Robert, would you like to do the honors for introing this week's episode, or interview, should I say?
Why are you doing this to me?
Because I do this to you all the time.
Here's our interview with Arekkz. Enjoy with a beverage of your choice, preferably red wine.
Not just red. Enjoy, guys.
Echo Available for playback nearby. Echo playback in 3, 2, 1.
What's up, guys? As I'm sure you're all aware, we are going to be talking about some changes that could be made to survival this week. And we hope to make it more appealing for players in the long run. But I just want to introduce our guest that we have today. This week we have the awesome Arekkz joining us, who is a massive force in the gaming community, man. Thank you for joining us, man.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Do you want to say hi, guys?
Hello, Mr. Arekkz.
How you guys doing?
Yeah,
I'm good, mate. Are you?
Yeah, all good, all good.
I was waiting for Rob to say hi, guys, but that's
Yeah,
what
I
he
was
normally
just
says.
about to.
He was trying to behave a little bit.
that's normally what I try to do on those kind of intro things. But
So for listeners who don't know who you are, Arekkz, do you want to tell them a little bit about yourself and what you do, man?
Yeah, so I'm a YouTuber and I cover I cover a wide section of games. Division is one of my main games. Kind of I typically focus on Division, Destiny, and Monster Hunter, and then sort of dabble in many other games in the process. Typically focus on kind of informative content, news, guides, walkthroughs, reviews, generally things that are sort of help people. And then obviously relevant to this, Division has been a big part of my channel since, I kind of covered Division a couple of years before it even came out, and then obviously, all of last year and then into now.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. As I said a minute ago, huge honor having you on, and thank you. We've all basically checked out all your videos and things like that you've put over across the last year of the game, and obviously huge fans of your content. So thank you for everything you do in the community, man.
Right, no. So I mean, it's a great community, and it's like I appreciate everyone's in a bit of a kind of interesting place right now, but I think we've kind of so much potential in the game, and the community is so strong. So I think they're all ultra passionate about the game, and they just want to kind of see it go to the right place. So it's a good community.
Yeah, it is, man. Okay. So before we start, I'm going to ask a few questions just to get warmed up.
Sure.
I will go first. Arekkz, what is your favorite alcoholic drink, if you even have the time to drink?
Well, I don't strictly drink because it's not part of my training regime. But when I do have off days, I'm all about mojitos.
Oh, nice.
Nice. This is not an official question, but what's the training regime for them? We can't let that slide.
Although it's basically just sort of like it was a kind of a sort of get fit kind of thing, because like I and sort of like weight training stuff, because I being a YouTuber, I basically live at my desk, and I was like you have to get to that point where like health is a super, super important thing, and I've always wanted to try and get to the point where like physically fit, and kind of the funny sort of joke goal is like imagine The Rock with a beard. That's what I want to get to.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
So yeah, kind of I'm working towards it. I've been on it for about sort of like 9 months now, so sticking to it daily.
Nice. No, well done.
Stuff.
Yeah.
You enjoying it, man?
Yeah, no, I think it's got to the point now where like because it's become routine and it just fits into my schedule. Like I just if I don't go, it really it bothers me. So I can't go without it. So like I get up at like 6 every morning to go and stuff, and it just starts my day right. It's good.
Nice.
Well,
Awesome,
your training regime might impact your answer to this question then. But if you were on death row, what would you choose as your final meal?
Ooh.
It's quite morbid. Sorry about that.
That's all right. It would have to be sushi. Sushi is above all else my favorite food. I could honestly live on that all the time.
Wow. Okay, sticking with the food theme, what's your favorite type of cheese?
It's got to be halloumi. Halloumi is like a brilliant cheese.
Fair play.
Awesome, man.
I like this question. This is brilliant.
They're quite random.
It's just more of like an icebreakers, just to kind of. We asked it to like Remy and Tinks and that lot when we had those guys on. It was funny as hell.
I can imagine
that.
Yeah, it was good fun.
Tinks has some brilliant questions. Brilliant answers.
Who is your favorite recording artist and band? This has been quite varied across all the listeners that we've had.
Interesting.
Not listeners,
to
guests.
Alex's answer to this.
Yeah.
I don't really listen to music.
Oh no.
This is gonna sound really weird because I listen to it in passing, right? Like I'll have things on, but like because I know so many people that work to music and they even work out. Like I kind of work out in silence, which is kind of a strange thing. I have the radio on, but I don't really have like favorite artists. I listen to like so much. I'll listen to like anything in passing, but I don't necessarily kind of have anything specific.
What about favorite game soundtrack then? Would that be more down your alley?
Yes. Zelda soundtrack, definitely. Zelda.
Which one?
Ocarina of Time.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's one of the things, right? Zelda games, like I love the music, and even though Breath of the Wild has now become my favorite Zelda game, it doesn't really have any memorable tunes or like music really. Whereas Ocarina of Time has got so many. So yeah, definitely that.
Yeah, I've got a friend that's just been playing Ocarina of Time recently, and I'm like, I'm sat next to him going,
love it.
Yeah.
If you get time to watch TV, what is your favourite current TV show?
Yes, I do make time.
I already know the answer to this.
Oh yes, the American TV shows. So I watch The Flash and I watch Arrow. And Flash at the moment is my favourite one. It's definitely
Cool.
one of the best.
Do you check out Silicon Valley at all?
I haven't heard of that one actually.
No, I was just if you're watching American shows and that, I just going to say check out that one if you haven't.
Okay, yeah, no, I definitely I'm getting to the point where I need to, because they're coming to the end anyway, so I'll have my typical void to fill. So,
what was your first gaming system?
Sega Master System. That was back when it wasn't strictly mine because I was 2 at the time. My brother had it, but that's like when my journey started. So I used to sit with him and like play. Alex in a Miracle World was the one that came pre-installed, and then the first one that I technically owned myself was like way after that was like GameCube. But then I went Master System, N64, and then I was basically a Nintendo kid for a very long time, and then I only branched out to multiplat basically when PS3 came out. So I completely missed PS2. So I missed like a big system and a lot of games. But yeah, Master System is where it started.
Nice.
I got to ask, what's your favorite game on the GameCube?
Ooh, I mean, it's probably got to be. It's always going to be a Zelda game. I'll always find a way to get a Zelda game.
Wind Waker, yeah.
It's going to be Wind Waker. But aside from Wind Waker, Star Fox Adventures was an incredible game.
Nice.
Incredible game.
I didn't like Wind Waker. I'm just going to say that.
Really?
No, I didn't like
really?
it at all.
Right, I'll say get out.
What did you not like about it?
It was just that was the one on the boat, right?
Yes, yeah.
I just didn't like all the traveling around. It's just
that's fair enough. I mean, there was a lot of back and forth on the boat, and I mean that I can definitely sort of like see. But I think it is like it's because it's funny because at the time it was definitely not very well received because prior to that they showed the Space World demo. It was like a really realistic looking Zelda, and then they switched to the cel shaded one, and everyone just hated it to begin with. But I think if like given the time to play it, it's actually an incredible game.
Yeah.
I think it's my number 2.
Yeah,
to Ocarina.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Well, I've literally got a Switch like 3 days ago, so I haven't played Breath of the Wild yet.
Okay, yeah. Ocarina was my number 1 until I played Breath of the Wild.
Oh,
so
I'm getting the feeling that the Z word's going to come up for the answer to this question. But if you had the chance to replay any game again for the first time, what would it be?
Ooh.
I'm gonna say don't say Destiny because Luke hates Destiny.
I mean, you know what? To make things interesting, I'm not going to include a Zelda game because technically speaking, it would. I mean, like because I'd almost say even though it's only been super recent, possibly Breath of the Wild because it's like because since being like a YouTuber, you know, obviously like I play games a very different way now. Like I still enjoy games, I still love what I do, but I play them with a very different mindset. And Breath of the Wild is the first, yeah, exactly. And Breath of the Wild is the first time where like my friend Matt that I run the channel with, or 269, I basically said to him, I was like, I'm going to book a week off. Like, I'm going to schedule videos and have a week off for Zelda, which is not something I can normally do. Normally, I'll play games and then shuffle videos in. And then, like, but I played Zelda, I played Breath of the Wild like it was, you know, back in the day when I was a kid. I just sat there and just played. And it was just an incredible experience. And having the massive world, like, just to explore and everything, I honestly, I think that's probably one of the best moments I've had in, like, a long time.
Nice.
Yeah, that.
Very good. Okay.
Nice. Well, just going off that quick before we go any further, what's your review process? It's like because obviously games and content these days need to be like out there, and I know you are so quick with putting content out. Do you feel like you well, like what is your process? I was just going to say basically, do you find sometimes you feel yourself rushing through games to try and get the content out there, or?
I mean, yeah, I think it's more the fact that like you'll typically, you know, I'll jump into a game and you'll typically have like an idea of what you think, because you know I produce content that I would find interesting, but then obviously my audience is built around that. So generally, like things that I want to know, I hope to think, you know, hopefully that's what they want to know as well. So I'll try and go in and if it's a game that I know, so you know, if it's something like Destiny or Division or like a Zelda game, I can typically say, these are the things that I probably want to try and focus for. So like, I'd focus for that. So like Division, if like an update came out and there was new gear, I'd be like, right, let me play first to get the gear because that's probably the most important thing. Then I'll branch out afterwards to like activities and stuff. But if it's like a new game that I haven't played before, there is, it's quite difficult because obviously you don't necessarily have the time to properly enjoy it. There have been times where, I'm playing a game and I'm just like, I'd like to sort of, just sit and play all day long. Or sometimes you actually want to space out a game. But like, if you've got an embargo to hit and you kind of need to blitz through it, then there are times when, you are somewhat forced to sort of, blitz through it to a certain extent. I don't think it's necessarily impacted my enjoyment for the most part. I think it just sort of it varies from game to game. But it's definitely a lot harder if you don't know the game because, trying to go in blind, I think, but I mean, you just kind of just have to adapt. I'm so used to it now that, these days, and I definitely try and focus on my strengths more so. So, if I was playing like I love fighting games, but I'm not the best at fighting games. So like if I were to cover, like I'm looking forward to covering Marvel vs.
Injustice.
Capcom.
Right.
Yeah, Injustices are like one I'll definitely sort of do a bit on, but Marvel vs. Capcom is something I would like to try and go big on, but in a different way. Because obviously I'm not like when in the first kind of month when the game is out, people will be wanting to see new stuff. So that's when I can kind of focus on things. But then once it starts to sort of level out, and when the pro players start to sort of step up, and people like Maximilian start doing their coverage, that's when you have to start learning what you can and can't do, because if you're not necessarily the best in like a game like that, people are not really going to want to watch. So again, it's about playing to your strengths, really.
Yeah, I thought it was quite interesting because we haven't really had anybody else on, especially of your stature, to kind of like that does reviews on that kind of scale, and I like consistently all the time. So I just thought it was quite interesting for myself.
No,
Sorry,
that's right.
being a bit selfish. Awesome. So everyone's got to know each other, I think. Okay, so obviously listeners of the show have probably listened to us bang on about our thoughts on Survival when it was first announced and what we thought of it. Arekkz, can you tell us what your expectations and thoughts on Survival when it was first announced?
So yeah, I mean when it was first announced, obviously, I mean again, like, I didn't know anything beyond the trailer. So when I first saw it and started, dissecting it from like an analytical point of view, I started extracting BR elements, and obviously at the time before Battlegrounds was out, I played a lot of Armor Battle Royale, so I was thinking this is what I think a lot of people wanted the Division to be. You think back to like when the trailer first showed off, was it like 2013 or something, and everyone kind of like it depicted this grim kind of world where it was like hard to survive and stuff like that. You have to having to go around and scavenge, and I think for a lot of people that kind of tuned in at the beginning of the game and then dropped out, this was like, to them, it was like the Division they thought they were buying into in the first place. So
yeah,
that was pretty exciting. I mean, I was definitely hoping, when I didn't know too much about it, I was definitely hoping it would be a lot more Battle Royale focused. And then obviously, as we often know with a lot of the content in Division, there ends up being more of a kind of like PvE/PvP aspect, which kind of, to a certain extent, dilutes the content. So I think Survival is undoubtedly the best thing that the Division has had added, period. And it still has the most potential, but I definitely don't think it has reached its potential. I feel like they got really, really close, and then we're just like, yeah, we're not going to do these few things, and then it's not quite there. But yeah.
No, that's cool. I mean, one of the reasons we're basically having this discussion today is like later this year, obviously, we know there's going to be content drops, and in the second content drop, it's basically still under consideration what's going to be there.
Yes.
Not only that, there's a ETF in a couple of weeks where ETF members, I know you've probably signed up to it, haven't you, man?
Yeah, I definitely applied. I'm hoping it doesn't clash. I mean, I know the actual dates don't clash with the Destiny stuff that's going on, but obviously dates in the background and stuff, I'm hoping don't get in the way. But yeah, I applied anyway. I'd love to try and go and get involved. I never had a chance to kind of go to the other two, so it'd be good to try and help out.
Yeah, I think we've put our names in the hat as well, and fingers crossed.
Yeah, I hope
somebody can put forward some of the things we're going to talk about today. But because it's all still under consideration, I mean, obviously, when Survival was released, it brought huge amounts of players back to the game because they were like, "Whoa, this is amazing!" Like you said, everybody thought it was going to be like a battle royale mode, and a lot of people came back to the game. I don't really know. I can't really explain why. Maybe it was just the fact it was so different, and like you said, it was what people expected the game to be originally. The only downside with Survival at the minute, and a lot of the other content that is in the game at the minute, is that I think we all kind of find that the replay value of the content
Yes.
has kind of dropped. And, we've all been playing the Division weekly and a lot. We've been back to survival quite recently. We kind of left it for a long time, but we've been going back. And it's like, whoa, this is actually a really good game mode.
Yeah.
If you keep spending time in it, it's really good. But, like you said, it could be so much better. And, I know you've checked out PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, and I've played DayZ and things like that. And I basically put on Reddit, was it last week or the week before, about proposing a Battle Royale mode for survival.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like, oh, would you like this? It was kind of a post basically saying, what would you do? And the post got upvoted by about 90%. Now, I know Reddit's not the best place to put stuff and things like that, but it shows it shows interest, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. There definitely might be some questionably toxic comments on there, but it's still a good, it's a good gauge of, there's a lot of engagement on there, so it's definitely good to see.
But I know yourself, man. I mean, I reached out to you because I know you have been shouting for Battle Royale mode
since day one.
Yes, and I know you've been like wholeheartedly behind wanting this content in the game, and we want to help push this for players as well. Basically, I think the main question that I'd like to ask is, what are your thoughts on this being added to the game? Obviously, I know you want it, but why would it be a good choice, do you think? So
I think it definitely goes back to what you were saying earlier. I mean, like about replay value. I mean, that is ultimately a game like this. It's all about replay value. Because the problem with the Division right now is, I mean, sure, I know there are still people that play it every single day. I still play it weekly, maybe not quite as much as I used to at the moment, but I still play it. But fundamentally, there's just not the same replay value, because ultimately, once you gear up and once you've kind of got your gear sets, apart from if they do a balance change and you have to get some new stuff, it's like, what am I actually fighting for? That's the thing. It's like, there's no proper end game content that can challenge you. I mean, you've got legendary missions or you've got incursions and stuff, but they don't have replay value in themselves that much. Because I don't feel the desire to go back and do an incursion again. And you go something like the Dark Zone or like Last Stand, it's fun and it's competitive to a certain extent, but again, you still I don't feel like it has the right replay value. But you look at something like Battle Royale, it's like it is in its essence, if you kind of encapsulate it, it's a quick mode that can be played within about half an hour. You get a completely different feel in something like Battle Royale. You get this sort of adrenaline rush you play, and then the second you finish it, you want to jump straight back in. I feel like some of the content that I'll get in the Division at the moment, you play it, you have some fun for it, and then after X amount of hours, you're just like, I'm done. Whereas Battle Royale, I play on stream every single day, like the Battlegrounds, and every single time you finish a game, it's like, just one more. That kind of thing keeps you coming back, and I feel like Survival definitely started with that, because when we were first playing it was great because it was a new expansion, there was stuff to earn, and we were like, all right, I can play Survival and I can get gear in the process. The thing you need to look at now is why do you actually play Survival? It's because I think obviously numbers have dropped now anyway, so it's a little bit hard to queue for it anyway. And you're certainly not going to be doing it for loot. I mean, sure, there are players that might come back into it anyway and stuff. They might try and use it as a means to loot, to kind of gear up, but it's not going to be the best thing. If someone comes in and they say, I need to gear up, you're not going to go to Survival, right? You're going to go elsewhere. So I think that's the main thing. I think you have a mode like that is in the game, and that's the sort of thing that keep people coming back. I mean, you look at something like Armor H1, right? They've been around for a long time, and yet people are still playing them day in, day out, because it's a mode that is replayable and it keeps it going. Whereas you look at the Division now a year on, numbers have definitely dropped. And again, despite the fact we still love the game and we support it, we want it to do well, there's no denying that there has been a drop off, and it's just because it's lacking something that is genuinely replayable. Yeah,
I mean, it's something I think I even put on my ETF application form, was basically, one of the things that you'd like to bring, and I definitely like to have a discussion about the replayable value, because it's something we all, I know Luke doesn't like it that much, but we all keep comparing to. But Destiny has replay value. I can't always explain what it is, but it has something that does keep you bringing you back no matter what. Constantly. The raids as well.
Yeah, raids,
but I totally agree with you with the loot, what you said about loot. To be honest, I've never played Survival for the loot. It was just the game mode for itself. The game mode was so good. that being the case, how I'm basically going to go around to everybody now and get some thoughts off you guys. How would you guys actually turn survival into a battle royale mode? And we can go over like finer details like mechanics and things like that. But do you want to go first, Arekkz, man?
Sure. All right. I've got a long list. I mean, but fundamentally, I think one of the cool things about it is like most of the mechanics you need for battle royale are already there, right? Like you have like a means to get people to go to the center. Maybe not in the same way, but you have like these harsh conditions. You have the fact that you start with minimal loot. So I think fundamentally, if you look at like a game, like take any battle royale game, whether it's H1, Armor, or the other ones, there's like three main things. You drop in with no loot, and you have a circle that spawns, and this circle progressively gets smaller on a timer. That's a means to force players in. That's the one thing. Like people are, and like at the moment in the division, the thing to force you in is the fact that obviously you're running out of meds, and you obviously need to kind of work towards the center to get the antivirals and stuff. So that that logic is already there. You have this circle that goes in, and in battle royale games, if you're stuck outside that circle, it then starts to hurt you, and then obviously if it gets progressively stronger, and then it'll kill you. So you have to, so you're forced to keep moving, right? And while I appreciate in the division they might not want to put a physical circle on the map, they could physically use the storm. They could make it so it's like you spawn outside, and that storm will get progressively worse, and then the worse it gets, you have to move. So it's like an invisible circle, right? So
well, you could, like you said, use the freezing.
Exactly, yeah.
Get my words out. Freezing conditions. Sorry.
Yeah, precisely. I mean, if you use that, right, but then you make it so that like initially you can use your meds and you can use like campfires to keep you warm, but then it gets to the point where it's so damn cold that you can't stand by a campfire, so you have to go, right? So that's the mechanic that keeps you going. I think the other thing they need in the center, because the other main problem with the game, and this is one of the things that like lets survival down, is that the map is so huge. I mean, it will obviously. But even if they put Battle Royale in the division, there's no promising it would be as successful as something like Battlegrounds, because Battlegrounds has 100 players in a lobby, right? Division has 20, is it 24, 26, something like that?
24.
Like,
24,
yeah. So it's still going to be quite small, right? But you can make it work, because if you're intelligent with the way the circle shrinks and then like forcing people to a location, because currently in survival, you go into the map and like I can go and extract to the bottom, someone can go and extract to the top. If I see them extracting and I want to like go and start a fight, by the time I've run there, they're finished, right? So I think they should do it so that there's like one antivirus, or like if you're working as a team, maybe there's like a team antivirus, right? And then it spawns at a fixed location, and that's marked at the beginning of the game. It can be like the helicopter will spawn in like Bryant Park, and it can change every mode, but it could be like helicopter will come to Bryant Park in 20 minutes. The circle starts to shrink in. You have to loot as you go, and then everyone will converge on this location. That's a surefire way to guarantee that by the end, you will see players. They will have to fight, because they will have to fight over, like only one team can get out. And then everything. I mean, everything else will kind of fall into place. There's a couple of things I'd like it if they would lose the instance areas where you go inside to craft, because part of the danger of Battlegrounds is, or part of the danger of like Battle Royale modes is learning to loot and kind of craft on the go. So I feel like being able to go in a safe room kind of takes away from that, but whether they do that or not, I don't know. But I think I'll throw some of the other guys as well. But I mean, I think that's sort of like a starting foundation for it.
That's one of the things I don't like about survival is the looting system. The loot system is they've kind of crammed like 1 to 30 in to like half an hour, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely.
I would, if I would take that completely out, I would have golds drop everywhere. I wouldn't put any gear sets in, but I'd have golds drop like as soon as you start. I would take well, no, not drop. I would maybe put them in caches and put them in like random places. And I'd take NPCs out as well. Because just from a lore standpoint, it doesn't kind of make sense. Who's going to stand out in the cold?
Yeah, exactly. That's,
you know what I mean?
That's definitely true. Yeah, for sure. And I think also, I think it's also important that they need to not constantly do this with modes. I mean, I appreciate Division's built around this thing, but like every time there's a mode that like the PvP players get slightly excited about, and they're like, "Oh, this could be cool." They're like, "Surprise! There's also an NPC PvE component." It's like,
it's just. I mean,
almost
they
guys.
could do like separate modes, PvP, PvE, but like, the PvP version there shouldn't be any NPCs at all. I don't think. Yeah,
I mean, the only thing I'd say, like, I wouldn't mind if hunters, because I like hunters, and I think hunters add an interesting dynamic. I mean, I do still feel like I know what you mean. Like, if we want a true battle royale experience, it should just be players, right? If they wanted to have like a slightly better logic for like the circle and it's not just a storm, they could even have it so that the hunters come in from the outside and like they almost force you to kind of go in, because if you kind of get caught outside the hunters
Oh
will
wow,
get
yeah,
you.
that's great.
That's a good
That's a
idea.
brilliant
And
idea,
that was one of the things I was going to bring up because obviously as we said, like hunters are one of the best additions that we've had to the game since the game was actually released, and having it still be a thing would be. I don't want to take so much out that it's destroying what they built, but it's kind of basically reorganizing it, isn't it?
Exactly.
To better suit players at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Rob,
Well, no,
you
it was
got
just
anything else?
building on that. Like I would make the Dark Zone be the final place you want to go.
Yeah.
Like so you'd get your loot and then head to the Dark Zone. Like you all golds before you hit the Dark Zone, rather than get to the Dark Zone and then get all golds. And then once maybe you shorten the time it would take you to get there, so get there within like 10-15 minutes. And then once you're in the Dark Zone, make the circle even smaller, which forces more PvP encounters. And maybe have hunters in there as well. I don't know.
Yeah, I think as well, because I think they definitely, I completely agree with like they should put like gear and cash. I feel like, I mean, you can, there are some games that have got crafting. I mean, like I know like H1's got, you can craft like certain things anyway. But I mean, fundamentally, like most of those games, you go into houses and you loot stuff.
Yeah.
So I feel like, I definitely agree. They should put should be randomly generated loot in caches, and of course, because I mean that's the part of like Battle Royale, right? It's RNG. Sometimes you go in a house and there's like. I don't know, there'll be a vest, but there's no gun. I've played games where I've gone through like an entire town and I'm still without a gun, right? And like there'll be people that don't necessarily get the mode and they might find that frustrating, but that's part of the thing. You might get to a point, and obviously, and I appreciate in survival you start with the pistols, so you'll never be completely without. But Battle Royale fights are never designed to be like even, and I think if they were to like only drop gold loot, then again, because you want it to be like. Normalized. You don't necessarily. I don't want them to suddenly start dropping weapons with like talents on and things that are going to start like messing with the balance. Because it just needs to be like bare bones weapons. I mean, they could just be grey gear. It really doesn't matter what you wear. Just like as long as you're wearing something that gives you slightly better stats. But I think you have to. I think you should have to loot in dangerous areas and just out in the open. So I think they should lose the instant zones. And I feel like. I mean, I think also the way the skills work as well. I mean, like having to like craft all these skills and like potentially have all the different skills. I mean, like I think obviously skills are a big part of Division, so I don't necessarily want them to take them out. But I think it should be like either again maybe the things that you find in cache as you go, or the things that you pick up as you go, or maybe it's I mean to your point of sort of like you loot up first and you get like gold gear outside the Dark Zone. When you get in the Dark Zone, maybe then caches contain skills. Maybe then it's completely random. Like you open a chest and you've got a ballistic shield, or you open a chest and you've got a pulse.
I quite like that. I was going to suggest maybe you're allowed to pick 2 skills or 1 skill. Like when you go instead of climbing over the wall, you're allowed to go through the checkpoint, and while you're in that checkpoint going into the Dark Zone, you open a cache or whatever, and you've got a choice. It gives you basically the option of all the skills, and you're allowed to take one, whether it's like conceal, flame turret, what.
Yeah, I mean, I think they should still keep them to like base skills, because I think it gets far less complicated. But I mean, like, I think something like that will work. There's sort of a transitional point. But like just the kind of anything that just doesn't mess with the flow too much, because anything that sort of takes someone out, because if you get to a point where someone is playing VR and they can run inside like a safe point and they're in their instance and they're just safe. I mean, that's just wrong. Like if they're hiding in a building, fine, because that could be advantageous, or it could just suddenly mean they're in a corner. But I think anything like that could definitely work. And I mean, you could even play, working towards the center afterwards to flip the kind of the initial thing on the NPCs on its head. You could even have it so the hunter is like the one central thing that you fight in the middle. Then they drop the antivirals, and then obviously everyone has to kind of fight over that. So maybe you would have an interesting kind of dynamic. Because bear in mind, like if we're trying to sort of think about how they would design things, like if we truly want it to kind of come in, whether it would be like whether I don't necessarily see them completely saying, all right, we'll ditch any kind of NPCs. So if they were to have some sort of component, you could then throw in you throw in a hunter, and then it would almost be like people might work together to kill it, and then they have to fight each other.
I was going to say, that'd be the best thing, wouldn't it? To get players to work together, then turn on each other
exactly,
to get out of there.
So many freaking possibilities.
Awesome.
You could almost like put a playlist in, couldn't you?
Yeah.
That rotated, and it would be different like every week, which would increase the playability as well.
That's a good idea, actually.
Yeah. That's true.
Luke, what are your thoughts, man?
I haven't got any because Arekkz is too good. He's covered everything.
Sorry.
Like literally, I wanted to ask if you wanted to take the PvE element out of it. He's done that. Make everybody come into the center. He's done that with the weather and the antivirals and everything else. So yeah, it's cool. I mean, I completely agree that I don't think they should take the hunters out. I think they are possibly the best NPC that the game has got.
Yes.
So a way of working them in. But I also like Rob's idea with just making a playlist. So if you don't want the hunters in, you can choose that version. If you want NPCs in, you can choose that version. Maybe there could even be like a speed run version where the storm comes in twice as fast or something ridiculous like that, just to force you into PvP that much quicker. But
I like
that would be really cool.
I like the idea of like there being no PvP until you hit the dark zone as well. So you just literally got like 10, 15 minutes just to dash, gear up,
get the best you can have.
Yeah, and then then you've got a time limit to do that because of obviously the storm's gonna.
I mean, that could do. I feel like sometimes some of the coolest engagements in Battle Royale do weirdly happen at the beginning. I think maybe one of the things to kind of sort of like counteract that might be giving people the ability to choose where they start. Because in most Battle Royale games, again, you fly in a plane and you parachute in, and obviously you'll then look over the map and you'll be like, right, where do I think is sensible to land? Obviously, we don't have that because the helicopter crashes. But maybe, I don't know, maybe it is like, you start the game and it's like there's 5 random spawn points you can choose from, and you could select it. You could select the same spawn point as someone else, so you might then encounter them. But maybe it kind of gives you like a means to sort of spread out slightly. But no, I completely agree with the playlist thing. I mean, because that's one of the beauties of survival. I mean, to anyone like listening, like we're not trying to sort of like, because I appreciate there's PvE players out there. We're not trying to sort of take an experience away from people. Like survival will still be there intact. Like this is all like a playlist that people can play if they want to. Like for anyone that's like, I don't like PvP, I don't like Battle Royale. Cool, there's still other stuff to do. But for those of them who want the experience, I mean, yeah, the playlist would be perfect. I mean, you look to like 1.7, they're talking about seasons, right? They're talking about how they want to have these seasons for missions. I mean, maybe to your point of having different ideas for like the 2-time circle or the or the hunter on the outside, hunter on the inside. Like it could be like season 1 is like, I don't know, season 1 is like regular mode, season 2 is like fast circle mode, season 3, and then that would fit into their 1.7 framework.
Yeah, you could add modifiers to the actual mode as well. Because we start adding like some of the underground modifiers to the actual survival mode as well, which would increase the difficulty or make it, or you could add modifiers to make it more fun for players on like weekend events maybe or something like that. Yeah. And then make it so like there's something cool to get out of it as well. Like again, it doesn't necessarily have to be I'm not going to say put like a gear set to it, because A, that would mean they have to make a gear set, and B, you're then going to have a discussion about like, oh, this is I'm forced to play this activity. But if it's something that you can like, maybe it's, I mean, because they already said that in seasons there's going to be cosmetic gear and stuff you can earn that sort of says that I've taken part in something. So I think if they can then put that behind this mode, then you're going to have people, you're going to get the competitive people that come out that like Battle Royale, that really want to show off and be like, I've got the Battle Royale gear, like cosmetic set. For example, we basically said a couple of weeks ago on the show, when we first heard about seasons, was kind of like it'd be cool for certain game modes and certain things that you do in the game is to actually have like a patch that you can have on your backpack.
Yeah.
And maybe have something like that could show.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
You've actually won, but
like an emblem.
An emblem.
No, that's true.
Luke's like, what the fuck?
Luke has no idea. Sorry.
Oh right. Oh okay.
I'm the non-Destiny guy around here, so.
You say that, but you'll be getting Destiny too. Don't worry.
You'll love it.
No, one of our listeners has very kindly bought Luke Destiny.
Oh really? Oh, that's amazing.
Yes.
It is very, very generous of them, but they're just trolling.
It's got a GoFundMe, haven't you?
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
But that is the question at the end of the day. How do you make this game mode replayable so it doesn't end up in the same state as it is now?
I mean, it's a difficult one, because there's again there's no guarantee, because there is the risk that that they will listen to the community and be like, all right, we'll give you a Battle Royale mode, in the hope that they'll see the success of like Battlegrounds, and because obviously Ubisoft is a company, they're driven by numbers at the same time. They'll probably look at how successful Battlegrounds is doing and be like, oh, maybe we could do this. I mean, there is going to be the harsh reality is that if they had have done this when Survival came out and Battlegrounds wasn't a thing, they probably could have made a bigger impact. Because if you think about it as well, like there's a certain degree of like good faith, right? Like a lot of people came back for Survival. There were so many positive reviews. I mean, a lot of like the games journalists came back and they were like, this was the thing. If it had have been that experience then, I feel like it would have had a huge impact. So there's no guarantee that if they do it now. But I think leaderboards is a really important thing. I mean, again, if you're going to come in and you're competitive and you want to, because I mean, like that's the thing. Any other battle royale game, you don't get anything out of it, right? You win and you get your first place, and that's it. Like you get bragging rights, right? But then you also compete for the leaderboards. I mean, it's got like the number of wins you've got, as a squad, as a solo. So that's what people want, right?
Yeah, I mean, going back to what you said about leaderboards, we've been playing Overwatch.
Oh yeah.
We literally just picked that up at the start of the last event that they've just run, the Uprising event.
Okay, yeah.
Obviously, what is it? Competitive mode season's just begun or something like that. Mm-hmm. And it'd be kind of cool, basically reset the leaderboards every so often during this seasonal event that they're going to be bringing to 1.7. So people do have a chance to be at the top, or, everyone's basically starting at level field again. Which would be kind of cool. But as Luke said, to be honest, I've got like a whole list of stuff here, and it's within about 20 minutes we've gone through it. It's awesome without me even having to ask it.
Stats and leaderboards are something that have been missing from this game from day one, though, aren't they? I think we can all agree to that
completely.
So that's a shame. Yeah, I agree with the leaderboards on Survival if it was to make it a battle royale. There was something else I wanted to say, and I forgot now. You were saying it, and I thought, I need to mention that straight away, and it's gone. So you'll have to come back to me. Sorry.
But I think one of the main things that does need to be sorted is like obviously randomized loot. I don't know if you've spoke to anybody at the dev team or anything like that, but surely this can be achievable in a game like this.
I mean, it must be able to. Because I mean, like the Dark Zone has that concept, right? I mean, the Dark Zone has Dark Zone chests, and you open the chest and they have random looting, right? So I mean, it already exists in game, and I mean, even in I thought at first that Survival had randomized stuff, but then it seems the more I played it that stuff was in fixed locations. So, but yeah, I mean, the principle is there. I mean, you could literally just take Dark Zone chests and place them everywhere, or like caches, and then you've got stuff, right? So, that definitely already exists. I mean, I think that's the beauty of the game. I mean, it's definitely like, to anyone trying to sort of think about stuff to ask for 1.7, it's definitely like try and think within the realms of what already exists, because we already know it's not going to be a substantial content update, right? So, be like, gone are the days of thinking of like ambitious, like, I hope Battle Royale like suddenly expands into Central Park. That's not going to happen, right? But everything we've spoken about literally exists in game now and can just be reprogrammed.
I think the one thing, if they do decide to do it, is perhaps just use a quarter or half the map, so so you're confining players to a smaller area, so you are in a battle, constantly. Because like there's a few times you'll see like 1 or 2 agents, but it's not often that you've seen like 10 agents walking down the street in Survival, because you've got some spawned on the top right hand side and some down the bottom, and there's sometimes that you don't even see anybody till you actually get to the Dark Zone. So it'd be kind of cool to have that in there. But
I mean, I definitely I think that's, I mean, there's definitely an option, because I mean, as you say, you then be ensured to have like battles. I mean, like one of the kind of things that battle royale maps are typically quite big anyway. And I think the one thing that you kind of get used to in those game modes, you don't see people at the beginning a lot of the time, and then you do gradually the further you get in. So I mean, I think again, they're both options, right? You could just you could slice it in half and just have it like bottom half, top half, and then it could just work as 2 different maps. But again, if you didn't, then I feel like if you had the storm and you have the central location, then you can be sure that by the time you get to the middle, you're going to see people, right? So.
With the randomization of loot, would you want it like every instance, or would you think maybe like a very short seasonal thing where it flips completely?
I'd have it as like literally every single game is like completely random, because it just needs to be. I mean, again, that's the thing. That's the thing with BR, right? It's like you never know. Like the second you drop in, you have no idea what you're going to find, when you're going to find it. Because I mean, and that's the thing. Sometimes like you'll get to the final like match in Battlegrounds, and you'll have like minimal ammo. And you'll have like definitely a lesser weapon compared to someone else. You might not even be that well geared, and doesn't mean to say you can't win, because sometimes you can kind of get the upper hand. But that's part of the fun with it, right? It's like it's all about surviving. Well, it is about surviving and scavenging, right?
Well, that's the beauty of Division, though, because like all the chests and that they're all there. You just need to randomize what comes out of them, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, even better. Yeah.
I mean, if you spawn in and you know there's a chest over there, but you don't know what's going to come out of it, so yeah, it'll just be the same as every other.
But actually sitting here and discussing it, there isn't. I'm talking about it from simplistic terms and from an outsider's point of view. There isn't a great deal that they actually need to do.
No.
On paper, obviously, it's not just a case of
none of
pushing
us are,
the battle royale button and it, yay, and everyone's happy. But
no. I mean, I completely agree with you. I mean, that's kind of partly where like the ideas originally came from, because like I'm fortunate enough that as someone that also used to be in the games industry and kind of work in like an environment like this anyway, that's why when I kind of sort of started putting together the ideas and the video stuff, I was like, let's think about things that like I know feasibly from a development point of view could be done. And that's the thing. I mean, as to your point, there's physically nothing in here that they're like they couldn't repurpose, and there's like it would also require minimal to next to no assets as well, because it's like the assets already exist. I mean, you probably have like a work item for like UI design, because obviously there'd be like leaderboards and stuff. And then maybe kind of additional things like that. But otherwise, all the assets are already in game, so they wouldn't need like new level design or anything like that. It would literally just be like, it'd probably be like largely a code and a gameplay job. So it still takes time.
Well, looking at it, you lock off safe rooms.
Yeah.
So you don't even bother crafting anymore. What else we got? Remove division tech.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what we'd do with healing, but you wouldn't really need, depending how you actually reacted to.
You wouldn't need the infection, though, I don't think.
Well, depending, because
just
you can either use
weather.
the cold to push you towards the center, or use the infection. So if you don't get to the dark zone quick enough, it just wipes you out. And that would be one way of doing it, is just remove what they called I've gone blank. The
Symbols?
What, the meds?
The meds. Remove the meds that actually heal you from the infection. You just remove them, and then you have a time limit. And the minute you get to the dark zone, there is an antiviral, but that timer disappears, and it's literally like a free for all at that point. So you have something without actually causing. Do you know what I mean? Without bringing something else into the game to actually do that job.
There's someone standing on the other side of the dark zone wall that just has a needle. They inject you as soon as you get there.
Yeah, maybe.
Surprise.
But like, I just
I definitely agree with you, because I mean, like, I think that's one of the other things I mentioned before when I was going to talk about this. Like the antivirus part of it, like the infection, it's just like it doesn't feel like it does enough even right now in survival. Like it's so easy to just like, I mean, a lot of the time when I play survival, I completely forget to have my meds, and occasionally I'll get to like the dark zone and be like, oh crap, I forgot to like use this to kind of put it at bay. But it's very easy to maintain the infection without thinking about it. So I mean, and again, if we have the storm, if you have the storm and you have like the other components, you don't even need it. You could even have it so that like if you want to have the healing component, you just have it so that again in caches you find medkits, so that's your only way to heal. If you don't have the heal, I mean, if anything, that's something they could do as well. They could limit the skills that you could physically have access to, so they're only like offensive skills. So the only way you can heal is medkits, and then maybe make it so that like in a game like BR, maybe take the medkit limit off, so you can carry like 10 medkits if you want to, because it's the only thing you can do to heal.
I was going to say 10 medkits, no heals at all in the game mode.
Yeah.
Apart from the actual medkits that you've picked up.
Yeah, I mean, like
before you enter the dark zone, that would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, well, I wouldn't. You could even go past. You could even have like you could literally be limitless medkits. It can be like as many as you can find, you can carry. To a certain degrray, but it's because that's what you can do.
But then they've got cooldowns on them as well, so you've got that in there.
I mean, because that's.
I was gonna say maybe increase the cooldown to like you can't pop one every 10 seconds. You can pop it like 30 seconds or something like that. So you're not just blasting them.
Yeah, I mean possibly, but I mean I wouldn't even mind, to be honest. If you had like, I mean, if you had medkits that you could, I suppose to a certain. If you think about it, at the end fight, you probably need to kind of delay it a little bit. But yeah, I mean, however they implement that, but that would be a good way to kind of like streamline that process. And you could even make it so that I mean, like if you want like a lore or kind of narrative reason for doing it, it could instead be that like when you've dropped in, like perhaps I don't know, maybe like when you've dropped in, it's more of like a rescue mission. So instead of getting the antivirals out, it's literally just like the team say, we've got one helicopter that can get you guys out. It's it's coming in half an hour. Like be there. And like we can only hang around for like 30 seconds because I don't know, there's like the zone's kind of too hot and we have to get out. So it's physics just like if you want to get out alive, you have to be here at this time.
And they can only get 4 people out
Yeah.
maximum.
Exactly.
So there's your incentive.
Yeah. I mean, and that's just clean, right? That's literally just like, you crash, they have a rescue mission, you got to stay alive, you got to get to the center, bam. And but maybe it's like because that's the other one thing. Like, it would still need to be, because you still have to fight because you still have to get in the helicopter. Because that's the thing that's the thing that like, killed it with survival for me, right? Is like you get to the middle. Like when we first played, we did our first game, and we were the first team to extract. It was like, what happened to the rest of the team? Like, well, I didn't know when I was taking off the helicopter. I was like, did the game end for them, or are they carrying on? It's like, no, they just carry on as if I didn't even exist. It's like that MBR can't, like, there has to be a consequence, right? So if I want to win, I need to make sure that everyone's
You
dead.
need the ability to take down the helicopter as well.
That would be mean. That would be mean.
Oh man,
Does that mean you
that'd
want a
be
rocket
brutal. You
launcher
get
now
all-
then, Rob,
Yes.
to go with the flamethrower that you've always wanted? Yes.
You get all the way to the end and you get blown up as you're leaving. Oh
That'd be
man,
epic.
And then it's like, well, now you got to play again.
Yeah, yeah.
There's your replay
that'd be
value.
awesome though.
Yeah.
But
There you go.
I keep saying it, but I'm just basically trying to think of ways you could actually implement this. Obviously, there isn't that many people working on, I'm assuming, sorry, I apologize.
Yeah.
I'm assuming there's not that many people working on year 2 of the Division because of the amount of content that we're getting. So obviously trying to use assets that are already in the game.
Yeah.
And like reshuffling to get this game mode without actually, like you said, costing time and money. And I can't see it being hugely difficult. Not only that, I'm pretty sure it was in like the most recent questionnaire that went out as well. What do you think of like Battlegrounds or Battle Royale modes and things like that? So, like you said, they're definitely thinking about this. And this is something that has been constantly brought up. I think before we just end that topic, what would you think about survival as a world tier?
I'm all for options, right? I mean, this I think it's something that like, people asked for, or kind of asked in passing for when survival came out. And I mean, I think anything that kind of gives people, again, like replay value. I mean, like I would probably not want to go back now and replay the whole game because like I've done the mission so many times that like it's not exciting. But if there was a survival world tier, and suddenly it was all about because a survival as we've described it right now is Battle Royale, but survival as a world tier is more like DayZ, right? It's more suddenly like, you have to survive because it could literally be like if you die, then you have to start the game again.
Yeah,
right?
that's it.
Yeah,
it's basically the Division hardcore, and you can keep going as long as you want.
Yeah.
Possibly put in the gear. A bit worried about putting that in, putting like the gear sets and things.
Wet dream, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people have been calling for Game 2.0, haven't they? So you could make Game 2.0 as survival world tier. So you come in as a level 1 division agent and you have to survive, and you can gear up to level 30, and then if you die, like Arekkz says, you start all over again. And if you get to level 30, you can have a play it again, or you can go back to your usual agent.
Yeah.
That'd be sick.
That would definitely work. I mean, I think maybe what they might want to do to make you want to replay it is perhaps like streamline the experience. There aren't quite so many missions you have to do, quite so many side missions, and like all that. Maybe just make it so it's like just the story missions, throw away all the pointless side missions because they're not that exciting anyway. And then I mean, I think that'd be brilliant. I mean, like again, like it would just be that would definitely. I mean, you could even go as far as to say it could even include. I mean, this is the risky one because there would be like people would probably be too scared to do it, but you could still have PvP in it because you look at like DayZ. Right, I mean, there's a lot. You can play DayZ for like hours, and then like you can get to the end and start building stuff, and then suddenly you're dead. You're like, I got to start again. But that's part of the gamble, right? So maybe you could even still have the dark zone. So like once you do get to 30, you're like, do I try and sneak in here? And then you see other players and you kill them, and it's like, yeah, your adventure's over. But could be kind of fun. But again, maybe that would be a playlist thing. It'd be like, I just want the survival PvE experience or the survival risky PvP one.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Exactly what I thought. As soon as you mentioned PvP, that people are going to cry about it. So you need that switch where you can turn it on or off. But yeah, that sounds awesome.
This is just getting me hyped. This is not fair.
Exactly. Imagine. That's the thing is that that's what's always like frustrates me. It's like they've built this incredible game, right? And it's like I love it, and it's just got so much potential, but there's like so many things they haven't quite done, and it's like it's like you can see it, but you can't quite reach it.
Do you think? Being skeptical a little bit here, do you think they potentially left some of this stuff out on purpose to make the sequel better? Or do you think they just got a little bit sort of like the game got bigger than they expected it to, maybe?
I honestly think, I don't think it's like an on purpose thing. I think it's genuinely like, this is like, it's an Ubisoft thing. It's also in fact no, I think it's just like any game. I mean, you look at like anytime like a new IP comes out, and that's why like I honestly think right. That's why probably why we're getting like less content. I have this weird suspicion that given how successful, even though like it might not be doing great right now, given how successful it was at launch, like there's no way Ubisoft aren't going to try and invest in like a Division 2, right? Like at some point. So like I think like so, and you look at previous games. Assassin's Creed 1, great concept, not a great game. Assassin's Creed 2 was super solid. Watch Dogs 1, great concept, not a good game. Watch Dogs 2 was really good. But then
that's been my argument for like the last freaking couple of episodes. Watch Dogs 1 built so much hype and let a lot of people down. Watch Dogs 2 was an amazing game.
Yeah.
I don't know if it sold as well. To be honest, I didn't keep up too much with that. But apparently it was an absolutely amazing game to play.
Exactly.
And I don't know if they were just using it in comparison to the first one or if it was generally an amazing game to play.
Yeah.
But from what I've heard, they went back to the drawing board and, you know.
Yeah. I mean, that's the best thing. Is like anytime, like even that's why I'm so excited about Destiny 2 as well, because Destiny as a franchise as well didn't have the best start. Right, but now where they are right now, like the very end with like Age of Triumph, they're in a really good place. They've learned a lot, but even now, the game has so much potential. It's still nowhere near reaching it. But given a second chance, given like a second iteration, because there will come a time in the game, like we're talking about ideas that can improve Division within the realms of what already exists. There comes a time when like no amount of updates can fix or change the game. Like you can add content, but nothing can like Division's in a point now where to become the game that everyone really wants it to be, it fundamentally needs to be reworked, and that doesn't come an update. That comes as a rip it up and start again.
But like,
and I think
I feel like Division is following Destiny's footsteps. In some respects, like
a
lot of the things.
It's the learning curve, isn't it?
Because Destiny Year 1, like there was a lot of updates. There was a lot of balances and stuff, and that's similar thing happened in Division.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
They're kind of like paralleled a little bit, but just like a year later, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. No, definitely. Because they almost had like their Taken King style update, didn't they? Because they had like, was it, I forget the number now, there's so many flipping iterations.
Yeah.
Was it 1.4 was the one where the drastic change one where they added the world tiers. Yeah. So 1.4 was kind of like Division's Taken King, where they were like fundamentally changed the way the game is played. And that was a good point. Like a lot of people came back and a lot of people enjoyed it, and that was when they took the gamble. They were like, we're going to delay the DLC and do this, right? And that was a good move. And I think that's what they're trying. I think really the position we're in now is just trying to get Division 1 to a point where it's like good and people they can kind of like set it down. I mean, I'm still like I have so much respect for the team, right? Like I know they get a lot of crap. People get so much, but like the fact that like the team. Hamish and all the other guys, like they stream the game pretty much every single day and have done that since launch. I mean, like no other game developer has had the level of communication they have. I mean, even Bungie, right? Like I love Bungie, I love Destiny, but even Bungie, like their communication, they'll talk to you when they want to talk to you. And I mean, obviously the community managers are active and stuff, but like messaging wise, they're there just to say we've got stuff to tell you, and otherwise they don't say too much. Whereas like the massive guys, like they're there every single day on stream. They're talking to people. They're communicating and even through like the 1.3, the really dark time of Division, like they were there. And I mean, I saw Hamish, like you can see in his face. Obviously, it was like having it was weighing down on him. People in chat are just slating them and just be like, you guys have ruined the game. You guys hate, you guys don't care about the community. But they do it. They carry on, right?
Well, that's one of the things. I mean, I spoke to Weezer about is like the community for the Division can be great, but it can also go the complete opposite way. To the point of going to dev teams, the dev teams like social accounts and bashing them there.
Yeah, it's just terrible.
And it's like, what are you doing? That's not helping to fix the game, and you're not providing constructive feedback to help these people.
A game with
the work that has to be done.
With the Dark Zone is never going to have a community that's going to be like, oh yeah,
that is a good point.
Yeah, that is true. It's definitely risk. Yeah, but I think it's definitely a strong thing to the point where the game is. I mean, like obviously, if you were to bring this topic up, and there'll be a lot of people be like, I'm not going to buy a Division 2 if they make it. Like they took my money. It's like I reckon you would. And it's like given a second chance. So I think right now, like I mean, obviously, I'm hoping they're working on it. I mean, they could just there is the chance that Ubisoft are like, well, the game's gone down in numbers. You can scrap that, and we're never going to see it ever again. And instead, you're going to see Avatar. But honestly, I think given how Ubisoft have done in the past, I think it's probably likely we'll get it.
Going back to Watch Dogs, look at Watch Dogs. It was terrible, and
Yeah, it's true.
they knocked it out of the ballpark.
I never
know
thought we'd see another Watch Dogs, yeah.
you know, if you know, The Division is Ubisoft's best-selling game ever,
Yeah,
and
It'd be kind of
if
stupid.
they'd have
not
got
to.
it right, we would have kept the player count.
yeah,
You know, and I think they can do it.
yeah.
I think the guys can do it. And I think it's a case of now is to get, you know, they're obviously getting the game to a position where they can kind of lift it from Division 1 into Division 2.
Yes.
This is what we need to do. And obviously make changes going forward with that, but get the base game right,
Yeah,
you know.
for sure.
Because if we'd have had 1.4 to start with, I think a lot more people would have been happier.
Hmm. Yeah.
But anyway, I think we'll probably just start closing off the show.
Sure.
Arekkz, before we let you go, man, I just want to ask you a few questions. We've covered, you've helped cover a little bit of this.
No worries.
We're just that a little bit. Luke, do you want to go first, man?
Well, since you've mentioned 1.4 and obviously the change to the base game that came with that, I'd be interested to know how you feel with the loot rain that came with 1.4. I mean, personally, I've played the game to death. I've played this game more than any game I've ever played before. And literally the only things I've got left in the game to get now are the Urban MDR and a Warlord. And that's it. I've got
Really?
everything.
I got a Warlord the other day. Just to piss you
I mean,
off even more.
personally, I think the loot rain is a bit too much, and that's probably going to get me some hate from some corners. But what do you think, mate?
So yeah, no, I think it's a really interesting topic because it's so hard to try and get this right because there's always two sides to it, right? There'll be the part where like when the game will come in to begin with and it'll be really hard to get stuff and everyone remembers that grind, everyone that was there from the start, right?
Yeah.
When suddenly things become slightly easier to get, you start filling things up, but like everyone's always like, oh, you like if anyone joined now, you'd be like, you guys don't remember how hard it was to get stuff. But I do definitely agree with you. There's a fine balance between when the second things become so easy to get, I feel like they lose value. I mean, like I had a similar discussion. I was doing a podcast the other day talking about Destiny and like talking about how which exotic weapons in that to me don't have the same sort of value because they're so easy to get. And yeah, so I mean, to your point, I do feel like where the game is in its timeline now, I probably don't mind the loot rain just because I feel like a year and a bit after launch, I wouldn't still want to be grinding super hard to get something. But I do agree with you that the stuff that I get now doesn't necessarily feel as valuable. Like if I get a cool drop, I'm no longer like, whoa, what is that? I'm just like, yeah, it is what it is, right? So
you want the Galahorn of the Division, is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I think it's in truth, I'm kind of on the fence of that one. I can definitely appreciate both sides. And I think I wouldn't say we're like in a perfect place right now, but I feel like given where the game is right now, and given the fact that we're not necessarily getting everything else, I think this if loot's the only thing that's going to keep people kind of playing, then just throw it at them for the time being, and then
I could appreciate both sides as well. I mean, the fact that I said obviously I've played this game more than any other game was obviously that's my own fault. Nobody's forced me to sit and hoard this game like I have
no, exactly,
done.
yeah.
So obviously I've got the loot for that reason, but I just the sort of psychopath in me quite enjoyed the grind of 1.3, but
yeah,
I can understand obviously people that haven't got as much time to play this game as I've got.
Yeah, no, I definitely know. I mean, I know what you mean. There is definitely a nice thing about like grinding for like ages and ages and ages, and then finally getting that thing. I mean, like I'm a Monster Hunter player as well. I'm used to like grinding the same monster over and over again until you get the part you need, and like you can't beat that feeling, right? Like when you get that item and you're just like, I mean, like when Urban MDR first got added, like that's the only thing I was playing. I was playing survival time and time again for it, and I was literally like at the end of my stream, I finally got it, and I was like, that was such a great feeling. So. And I do agree with you. Like, when loot is so plentiful, like you don't get that feeling as much. But yeah, I just feel like it's I think at the moment it's probably she kind of needs to remain. If like in 1.7 or 1.8 they decided to add like a load of new gear, it would be cool if there was sort of. I mean, I was always a fan of, and I appreciate this is something that there was always a divide in the community with. I was always a fan of gear coming from specific like events because as someone that used to play World of Warcraft, like if I want to get my raid gear, I raid. If I want to get my PvP gear, I go to the PvP arena, right? I don't personally like everything comes from everywhere. I've never been a fan of this because I just like, and again, I appreciate it for people that don't have the time to play, then it's really cool because it means you play what you want to play and you can get everything.
Yeah.
So I can completely understand the value of it, but I do like it when there's like, if I want to get a certain thing, I play a certain activity. I feel like it kind of incentivizes playing different things. But again, given the timeline and given where we are with the game right now, I'm completely cool with everything comes from everywhere format.
Do you think there should be a gear score increase at any point?
I feel like there needs to be.
Drop the mic.
I agreed too much.
Yeah, that's brilliant. No, I feel again, like, I mean, people are going to be like, what? But I mean, it needs to happen. I mean, you look at like the first update we had most recently, it didn't have a gear score increase. Like, it's probably like anytime, like, you know, I said before how I still play the Division on a weekly basis, but I slowed down. I've slowed down. I don't play as much as I used to. And there was a guarantee that like every time a new update would come out, I'd at least invest X number of hours, because I'd be like, not only would I'd be checking out the new stuff, but I'm also actively gearing up and getting stuff again. The most recent update, like when Last Stand came out and like there was no gear score change, I think it's probably the one that I've played the least, because I came in, I played Last Stand for a bit, and I was like, I don't need to gear up because I've got good gear sets already. I don't need to play the new incursion. I don't need to do legendary missions. I don't need to do anything. And that the fact that I didn't need to do it didn't really incentivize me to play anything. So yeah, I feel like as much as people might find it frustrating because they spent ages building stuff, without it, like, honestly, because if you look at like seasons, right, you think about if seasons is like, let's assume for a second that in worst case scenario, we don't get battle royale, right, and we get seasons, which is just story missions in a playlist with a modifier. If there's no gear score change, are you honestly going to play that? Like, a lot? Probably not. Right? But,
can I ask you, what are your thoughts? Do you think the fact that we didn't get a gear score increase with 1.6 was part of the reason that update failed? But before I go any further with that, like, I completely understand why they did it. They obviously wanted everybody to play the legendaries. They wanted everybody to basically play the new stuff without grinding for it, which I can completely understand.
Yeah.
But do you think it basically killed that last update slightly?
I feel like to a certain extent it did, yeah. I feel like there was, I mean, exactly to my point, the fact that it was the update that I played the least, right? It just, there was no like real incentive to play anything beyond like, there was the, you know, you check out the new modes, but there was like incursions. I've never been a huge fan of incursions. I definitely think the new one is the best incursion they've done. But again, like once I played through it, I was like, why do I need to replay it? Like, I certainly don't need the gear from it.
No. Besides,
I could just go and jump in underground, or I could just jump in anything, or I could do like HVTs, which now drop stuff like it's Christmas. So yeah, I feel like it's I think the difficulty Division got into, because people to a certain extent are used to, like, you look at like, again, you look Destiny with light level, right? When everyone has to kind of like upgrade their light and like start again, people kind of get used to it. But the difference between Destiny and Division is that the gap between the updates was so much bigger in Destiny. So you'd hit top of your light score and you'd be there for like 3-6 months, maybe even longer, right? Division, you know, the game came out in March, and then what was it? The first update came out, was it like 3 months later, or even sooner than that, wasn't it? It was like really soon after.
It was like April. I know it was like March, April, May, and then it dropped to like August and things like that. And yeah, I think we've had like 4 gear score updates in the last year.
Yeah, I think that was the problem. I think it was almost like every single update. So it was like, you know, everyone that kind of jumped on at March and like was playing hardcore like us, like we were there, fair enough, and we were kind of cool with it. But people that have got jobs and haven't necessarily got the time to kind of like invest in as much time as they want to, they might have only just hit that gear score cap, and then suddenly the update comes out like, oh, I've lost all my work, I've got to do it all over again. And then because the content was so rapid with Division, it was like there was so much stuff coming out, and the gear score changes kept happening so frequently, I think people started to get really annoyed with them, because they were just like, every time I feel like I've made progress, I've just lost it again. Whereas, so I think what they probably should have done in hindsight was like every other update, change the gear score, so you feel like you're kind of settling in for a bit, and then you make ground. But I think it needs to happen. I mean, if we're not gonna get any like substantial new content, then I need a reason to play. Like I'm gonna tell you right now, like if the only thing that we have in 1.7 is like remixed story missions, then I won't play it for a long time. So
the only trouble there is the exotics.
Yeah,
because people kind of want to keep their exotics.
Oh, they could always bring in transmogrification.
Yeah,
or like infusion.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. I agree with you there. I think maybe just have it so you could do that with exotics, so you can bring your exotics with you. Like, I don't mind grinding again for gear score or for high ends. I mean, sure, people might be a little bit annoyed if they've got like a really nicely rolled gear piece, but it's what the game is, right? Like you're playing a losing game. Like you got to deal with it. So, but I agree with with exotics,
grinding out another MDR.
Oh no, thank you. No, yeah. Yeah. I mean, they could even make it so it's just something like they could even just like change it so that when a gear score increase happens, like all exotics just actually increase anyway. You wouldn't even need to infuse it. I mean, it'd be like a surefire way to then mean that like if suddenly it jumps to like 300 or something, like then you've got a weapon to already boost you. So I mean, I'd be completely cool with that.
Yeah.
But I think definitely definitely like a means to, because also the nice thing about the gear score thing as well, like it kind of happens in the background that people don't necessarily always realize is like when there is a gear score change and you're trying to piece together new gear sets, like when you're gathering pieces and you're just trying to sort of like throw on whatever you can for the time being, people inherently try new things out just because they're piecing things together.
Yeah.
And like, we're in a rut right now where everyone's like, this is the gear set to use and I'm not going to bother changing it, and why am I going to look for something else until like a patch note comes out and they're like, oh, this has been nerfed, and they're forced to change it. But if a gear score comes out and I'm like, oh, the first thing I got was I don't know, like a Deadeye or a Predator piece, and I'm like, I haven't used Predator for a while, let me just build up the set. Then you're like, oh, this is actually quite good. So I think it's a great move to do. So yeah, it needs to happen, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
No, I definitely agree. I'd like to see that come with 1.7?
Yeah, for
I'd
sure.
like to see that come with seasons, but obviously we don't know what seasons is yet, so we'll have to wait and see, I guess. Luke, have you got anything you want to ask, man?
With Last Stand, Arekkz, I know obviously previously you've said in other interviews or podcasts that you've not massively into PvP anymore. You started with PvP and then you've shifted over to PvE, I believe. But if Massive were to come to you tomorrow and say, Arekkz, we need your help. Here are the keys to the studio. Please, please, please give us a brand new game mode for Last Stand. What would be your first idea?
It would have to be. I think. Last time I was in survival mode for a minute. It would just have to be. It would have to. I'll just strip it back, right? I mean, like I think I said this sort of like jokingly in passing, like when it first came out, but there was truth to it. Last Stand is not a PvP mode. It's a PvE mode where you can PvP. I mean, I proved when it came out that you can win the game without ever killing a player. So it's like that's not a PvP. So like I would honestly I would strip out the NPCs. I think the base capturing thing is fine because that's a standard mode for PvP, right? Like domination. It's quite cool. Yeah. I would literally strip out the NPCs and just be like and shrink down the maps. The maps are too big, far too big. I mean, like for 6v6, like it's. I never see people. I mean, that's partly why I fight NPCs. Like, people were getting frustrated in the comments. I had like a video of me killing NPCs, and they're like, "Oh, I hate you, kind of people, because you don't go and help the team and kill people." I'm like, I'm helping the team because I don't need to kill people. I know how to play this mode. But no, yeah. If I were to do it, I would shrink it down drastically. Smaller maps, 6v6, domination style game mode, still capture the points, and no NPCs, and it would just literally be. Then the PvP players would be like, "I want a PvP. I'm going here." Because let's be honest, right? I know they put it in because they were like, if you don't PvP, then there's still something you can do in Last Stand. But I think that approach is like, it's not the right thing to do. I mean, you're diluting so many modes. Like there's tons of PvE content, right? If you want a PvE, you go in the open world, you got missions, you got incursions, you've got underground, you've got like pretty much everything you want to do. PvP guys, they have the Dark Zone, and even that isn't a dedicated thing, right? So like, let them have this one thing. Like, if you want a PvP, you play Last Stand. If you don't, just play something else, right? And again, to be clear, I'm not saying they should change Last Stand as it exists right now. So for those,
put in an additional play mode.
A new playlist. But yeah, the new playlist would be like condensed map, 6v6, pure deathmatch, done.
Or
Rush in the Underground.
Oh, I would play that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I would definitely play that. I mean,
it's something we keep talking about.
I'm trying to sell it to Massive. They will listen eventually.
I mean, that could definitely work. I mean, like, I secretly like the Underground. I know it's like weirdly, I think it's the most hated thing for a lot of people. Like, I think as a content creator, I like Underground because it was like a quick way to jump in, record a video, and get some loot. And I was like, for a while, it was the fastest way to gear up. But yeah, no, yeah.
I like Rush and those maps. Just ideal.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. You can even do things like capture the flag or capture the antivirus or something.
Yeah.
Just give us modes, right? Give us 6v6 TDM, give us Rush, give us like domination, give us. I mean, because all of that is like it's logic changes the way the game is played, but fundamentally it's not going to be many new assets. Like the only assets for a lot of these things will just be UI, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, you can get a UI designer to do that. So,
and so, I'll say it again. I've spoke to Terry Spear myself,
Yeah.
can we please have the ability, if we get TDM, to take 8 players ourselves into the last stand?
Please. Yes.
Not
yes.
not randoms, not rando Calrissians. Let's take 8 players ourselves of our choosing. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Right. Well, before we go, we've asked all our guests anyway. I know you said previously what you think will be happening roughly with Division sequel and things like that. Do you think we'll actually get a sequel, or do you think we're more likely to get like a Destiny-esque expansion
Destiny-esque.
sometime next year? Or, you know, what kind of time frame do you kind of see something happening if we do get something in the pipeline?
I mean, I think realistically speaking, I mean, it's going to be. I mean, I think it would be like a couple of years kind of thing. I think in truth, because I mean, they've got a team of people that are kind of the live team now, right? That are like working on the kind of 1.7, and we know that after 1.7 there's something else as well. So I'm going to imagine that will either be, hopefully, provided timelines work, either the end of the year or the beginning of the following year. So they're already not going to like, while they're trying to push this content, they're not going to even talk about whatever happens next. So I feel like at the absolute earliest, if they were working on a sequel, we probably see it like E3 next year. Because I think, like, obviously Ubisoft have got titles to manage and stuff, and I think they're supposed to be showing off an Assassin's Creed this year, didn't they say that? Because they delayed Assassin's Creed for like 2 years, didn't they? So that'll probably be their big kind of like selling point thing this year. So I don't think they want to like clash too much with different things. I mean, obviously I know they announce different things anyway, but you know, when you think they've got like Rainbow Six going, they've got like Assassin's Creed coming, they've probably got other stuff they're working on. So yeah, I think if we were gonna get it, it would be like I mean, because if you look at the teams now, I think it's Reflections and Redstorm working on 1.7 and like 1.8. So I don't.
Yeah,
think...
it looks like Redstorm's basically taking the lead on what's actually happening in year 2.
Yeah,
by the looks of it. I know Yannick and Hamish are actually leading as well, but it does look like the guys over at Redstone.
Yeah, so I think if that's the case, then it probably means that the whole of Massive is working on. And I know that Massive is part of them working on the Avatar game, but like it then means that the studio, in the same way that Bungie works, like, you know, like the live team was working on Age of Triumph while the whole studio is working on Destiny 2. So they're probably off there doing stuff on Division 2, and then just like, yeah, it'll probably be like timeline wise, it's going to be at least like 2019. So
Yeah, because it took
that's
5 years to develop the first game, didn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, that bloody Snowdrop engine.
Everyone talks about that downgrade.
But yeah, no, thank you so much for joining us
Right,
on the show, man.
Yes.
It's been really awesome having you on.
Thank you for having me.
Guys, you got anything else you want to say before we go?
No, just thank you. It's been real good fun.
Oh, yeah, let's hope we get that mode. Like, please,
Yeah.
please give us
give us the battle royale.
give us everything.
Yeah, I honestly think I want to try and push for this. Obviously, see what happens next week with announcements and things like that.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something I want to see. I like myself push, and obviously you're pushing it as well. So hopefully somebody at Massive or Redstorm or Reflections
Is listening.
hears us. And
Let's pray.
Anyway, thank you guys. Bye.
Echo playback complete.
As always, we hope you enjoyed this episode of the show. I know we all did. We really enjoyed the conversation, and actually having the chance to sit down with Arekkz. I know Rob was a huge fan. It was kind of, you were a bit starstruck because he plays a favorite game of yours as well.
Yes, he does. The game that shall not be named.
No. It's also Lick's stripper name as well. But
I knew you were going to mention that.
That's a subject for another time.
Asshole.
But yeah, I mean the whole idea of the conversation, and if you've listened, it was basically trying to come up with ideas or ways of making this change to survival added as easily as possible. Obviously, we as we talked about in the episode, game programming isn't easy, but it was just trying to make changes to survival with using the minimum assets that are probably actually available to the live team at the minute, because hopefully the majority of the team is working on the Division 2. We can only hope, I guess. But yeah, any thoughts before we go, guys?
Well, that's the main reason why we spoke to Arekkz about this, isn't it? Because he's got that background, like he used to work for Microsoft. So yeah.
I kind of hope it came across in the interview that we're not hating on survival either, because I know genuinely two of us here really, really enjoy the game mode, don't we?
I may have been hating on it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean that's the other thing as well. We don't want to change survival as in take it out and get rid of it.
Yeah.
We there's another mode there that has potential. They're asking for additional modes for like Last Stand and things like that on the forums. We're not going to the ETF, so this was I guess kind of a preempt, but it was also this is what we'd like to do with survival and make battlegrounds and DZ's all been blowing up, and survival has the potential to be that and to be, I wouldn't say better, but to be played in a different way.
It's an addition rather than a replacement, isn't it?
I think the only thing I will say before we go is it didn't really cover it with skills, but I think by taking skills out of the game, it's not the Division, if you know what I mean. I can't remember how much we actually covered it. I just want to say that, that's the one thing I would take away is, the minute you start taking certain things out of it, it isn't the Division. So we don't want to go down that road, but definitely there's very minor changes that could actually make this happen.
Are we going to
I agree.
Are we going to do something like a survey that supports this episode? Maybe? Yeah.
So basically, to go hand in hand with this episode, we will be launching we're not going to call it a petition. We're going to call it a community show of hands. I don't know if you like that. But it's basically to show the Division developers. I'm getting a show of hands here, guys. Hopefully, in a positive way, that players and the community would like to have this game mode added. I know Arekkz, if he gets the chance to go to the ETF, we don't know if he's actually going to at this moment in time. He's definitely going to bring it up, but I think he's going to support this as well. So if you are listening, please help support this cause, I guess, by completing and sharing the survey in as many places as you can as possible. And that would be awesome, because I think survival is a really good mode on the game, but not a lot of people have time to play it, and having something like a battle royale mode that lasts about 30 minutes, most people jump on for about 30 minutes, and it could just be so freaking awesome if we can get this to happen, or just show the people at Massive that, the community wants this, at the end of the day. And, just another huge thank you to Arekkz for joining us and taking the time out of your busy schedule, man. I know we all enjoyed it, and we'd love to have you back on in the future. That being said, where can the listeners find us, guys?
You can find us at SITREP Radio on Twitter, or at SITREP Radio Rob, or at SITREP Luke on the Twitters, and then at SITREP Radio on Facebook. Send any questions to us at sitrepradiopod@gmail.com, or tweet at us with the hashtag Team SITREP, as we're all affiliated to that hashtag.
Yeah, I'm just going to jump in there as well. Send us some questions. If you have anything you want us to talk about on the show at all, send us an email or hit us up on Twitter. That'd be awesome. Or we do have a Discord as well. Jump in there. We are always available for your questionable
Or
needs.
join us on Twitch, because we're all streaming quite a lot recently.
Yeah.
Awesome streaming content of us dying in survival regularly. I'm going to jump in there as well and say that the SITREP Speed Challenge is back this week. We are doing Broadway Emporium. Another limited edition SITREP coffee mug is available to the winner with the fastest time, so get at that. The deadline is 10 p.m. GMT on Sunday, the 14th of May. So yeah, you've got plenty of time to get on that. So please get involved. Tweet either myself, SITREP Luke, SITREP Radio Rob, or SITREP Radio Pod with your times. And if you claim to have the fastest time, we need video proof. That's it. That's literally all it is.
Are we saying we need the hashtag in with that tweet as well? Because I have noticed that has been slipping a little bit in the past couple of weeks.
It's helpful if the hashtag is involved. It's hashtag SITREP Speed Challenge, but I don't think it's a rule breaker. As long as one of us is tagged in it, we sort of feedback to each other, don't we? So,
before we go any further, any tips for that mode? Because I did see Shadow, who was our previous winner, it was basically saying requirements for start and stop time. So the minute you go through the door on the mission.
Well, on Broadway Emporium, there is no door. So what we've said is, as you cross the threshold of where the mission text is, so Broadway Emporium and World Tier 5, hard mode, etc., that's when you start, and you stop literally when the words mission completed appear on screen, and that's it. The rest of the mission is how you choose to play it.
Any tips for actually getting through the mission? Because I think he just said basically run through it, wasn't it?
I think his tip for the previous one was Predators, because you can use less bullets and let the NPCs bleed out. But he did say he was going to try his quote-unquote super alpha build this time round. So, I mean, from personal experience, I've run it twice and managed to shave off 1.5 minutes between my first run and my second run. This one is very much learning the mission in where to go and which area to look for the contaminated dollar bills. So that's where you're going to save most of your time. I think it's just practice and repetition. But
that's awesome. Yeah, we've seen some good rivalry so far, and it's only been about 24 hours, so definitely jump on that speed challenge, guys.
As we go to press, it is 5 minutes and 54 that is the current fastest time, but that's obviously going to change over the weekend.
Crap. Yeah, so if you think you can beat that, get on it, guys.
Anyway, you can find SITREP Radio Pod on any of the following platforms: iTunes and Apple Podcasts on iOS devices, Google Play Music, SoundCloud, Overcast, Stitcher, Player.fm, Pocket Casts, RSS feeds, and please rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast while you're there. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. As always, make sure you check out Mash Those Buttons over on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, and please check out some of the other podcasts that are a part of our Mash Those Buttons family. I know the Overwatch podcast is pretty damn awesome. The FGC podcast is doing really well at the minute. They're waiting for, Marvel vs. Capcom to drop. And obviously, In Orbit is going to be covering all the latest news on Rob's favorite game, Division 2? Destiny 2.
Yeah.
Screwed up.
And don't forget, you can also check out the episodes on YouTube.
Yep, including the one you've just listened to, and that will be put up with some sweet footage, won't it, Rob?
Yeah, hopefully.
Mr. Confidence over there.
I love it. Anyway, as always, thank you for listening, agents, and we will catch you in the Division. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.